So, I'm now going to talk about service design for use. So, I just presume that we now understand how the course is structured. I hope you also understand that you all have to be here. Because, well, sometimes because you have to present. I will always tell you up front, or Serena will tell you up front who is going to present. No surprises. Okay? Unless I ask for a volunteer. But if I tell you next week, we know who is going to present. Right? But all the others also have to be here because as a team you make the work. If one of you cannot be here, then the other part of the team has to do all the work, right? So you have to be here. Actually, we might try to start a little bit early in the morning next time. Like 9:15? 9:15 Algero time for tomorrow morning? Let's try. Okay? Good. Service design. I will first speak about design for use in general. So, my next step is not about services only, it's in general about design for use. And this is a long story and I would like to tell you the whole story. I think none of you ever got a class from me before, is that true? And if you've been in one of my classes before? Okay, because this is a story I always tell to start with, so some of you could be bored, but apparently not. Go. Design for use. Well, design is something that seems to be special for human beings. I don't find any other animals that really design. And the unique thing is that human beings not only use things. You know, some animals use things. Like birds build a nest, they use branches, and monkeys use sticks to get the banana and so on. But human beings also build these artifacts. By the way, some monkeys also do. Some monkeys collect sticks and then catch the banana. But human beings also design artifacts. They think about it and then they come with a completely new solution and they try it out, and if it works they say, this is my design. So, artifacts can be physical, like this is a physical artifact, it has a weight, but artifacts can also be conceptual. A law is something designed and built and used by people. A political structure, like democracy, it's designed and it's built and used by people. Languages and even services, like transporting you from the airport to Algero town. This is a service. Okay? It's not a physical thing, but it's something that helps me to be here for the class. Okay. Now, in various cultures and in various times, the using of artifacts and the building of artifacts and the design of artifacts are combined and all done by the same person, or it's split. Somebody is using it, somebody else might be building it or designing it. So, I'm starting to give you some example. Culture. Culture can be identified as regionally. I guess there is a different culture between Sardinia and mainland Italy. And there may be a difference in culture between Calgary and Algero, I guess. Is that true?
I think yes.
Yeah. There's a different culture between architects and psychologists or computer scientists. I was in the faculty of psychology long ago and then I moved to computer science. It's a different world. People have different values, people have different opinions. There might be religious cultural differences, there might be age-dependent cultural differences. One of my friends has a daughter, she is 18 years old now, and she has a sister who is 14 years old, and she doesn't like the music her sister is listening to. She said, this is another time, another era. I don't understand that music. It's 4 years different, right? Wow. And more. You have to fill in for yourself, right? So culture can be everywhere, and actually each of you might be participating in 2 or 3 or 4 different cultures. Right? I'm participating in the culture of the Netherlands. I'm participating in the culture of teaching in Alghero. I'm participating in the culture of the Faculty of Computer Science in the Netherlands, and so on. Right? So, in simple words, in small, closed communities or in guilds, you find out that designing and building and using is all done by the same person. Right? And this tool is like 60,000 years old. And this flute actually is 20,000 years old, and it's obvious that it was designed and built and used by the same people. So there's not so much of a separation between. And well, it's in a way for everything. So in the very isolated groups, and sometimes groups that were living many years ago, 1,000 years ago, you will find out that there's no split between using and building and designing. And actually these type of cultures you can still find nowadays sometimes, even in Italy or even in the Netherlands. So it's not just primitive, but it's simple worlds where everybody is working together. Like here, in the village, maybe the villagers design their own playground and use it. And simple worlds, in a way, in some respects, turn out to be isolated societies. And actually there has been a study, and this is pointed to that, where they say based on how the human brain develops, that this type of cultures almost always have less than 150 people. So isolated groups of people that work together, that do everything together, and this means in such type of culture there's no split between using things, making it and designing it. And in our modern world, most of the time this is not the case. We are no longer in these small groups. We have maybe many more friends and acquaintances than 150. Right? How many people are on your Facebook? Or how many people are you connected? Maybe many more. So, in modern or civilized or urban or Western societies, there is a split. Actually, it's not only a split between building and using it, but also between building and designing. Though, most of you recognize this as medieval structures. Part of a medieval building, part of a Gothic door, and you might think this type of churches, cathedrals were designed by an architect and then built by somebody who was completely different. Well, actually it's not. Look here. If you look at the different panels, you can see that each of the masons, each of the stone cutters still was making his own design, her own design. And look at the door. You can find out that actually there's differences. So the blacksmith who made one half and his apprentice who made the other half, they in a way designed still their own thing. It's not that long ago, it's not that far off. The first photographers, they were not only using photography, but they were actually building. They were chemists, and they experimented with chemistry to change the results of their photography. And the same is for the sewing machine. The first sewing machines came with a repair kit, so the person who was using the machine could also change the machine, fine-tune the machine, making it work in a different way. But in modern society, things really changed. And especially since we have, well, developed the name Industrial Revolution, machines were designed for very big companies and many people were working with the machines they didn't design, and they were building things to be used by thousands or millions of people that were never able to build the things. So there was a complete split, right? And this means that society changed and actually even culture changed, right? So this means that a lot of things were much more better, more reliable, more cheaper. But also sometimes would be much more polluting, right? Look at the current problem in Japan. Is the power plants. The power plants, in a way you could say, they don't pollute the air. They provide lots of energy in a country where there's not any other energy resource. But still, there's a problem, as we found out now, right? I mean, making things very smart also has its negative side effects. And, well, if we look at the modern technology where computers are part of it, where we allow people to completely do everything themselves, you might not have to go and you might not be able to go to people anymore. So in the past, when I needed to travel, I needed to go to a bank and speak to a person and ask for some money of the other country. And now in Europe we all have the same money. And even if I need some money, I don't go to a person and ask for money at the bank, I go to a machine. I'm just talking to a machine. Right? And you could say this is quick, it's reliable, it's easy. The machine keeps track of my bank account, I don't have to write down anything anymore. But on the other hand, I might get isolated socially. And especially older people or handicapped people, they can still do everything, but they might run the risk of not meeting people anymore. Right? So we have to be aware of the good news of modern technology could also be, if we don't take care, the bad news for the individuals who lose their contacts. And all of you will have your friends that you meet before the door of the caserna here, or you meet them on Facebook, but some of the other people run the risk of not meeting anybody anymore, right? Of being no longer able to negotiate with people, because at the bank I can still talk to people, I can ask for their advice. At my ATM, the machine that I put my plastic card and get my money, I cannot negotiate with the machine. If my account is zero, the machine just refuses to give me money and never will give me advice how to do a better work with my household money. Right? So